Yeah. It seems that there is kind of an emphasis in growing the university system in Arizona. For example, with the bill that would have created a separate board of trustees in lieu of the Board of Regents, that would have set up ASU Polytechnic as its own university. There's also talk about a couple of community colleges
becoming four-year degree.
Right. I think it was Payson getting a university as well.
I think Eastern over in Safford is very eager to do this.
So do you think that it's becoming a point, especially as our enrollment is around 40,000, ASU is already one of the largest, if not the largest, undergraduate universities. Do you think that Arizona should grow its university system?
There's no doubt that the higher education system as represented in four-year colleges and beyond is underbuilt in the state of Arizona for the population that we have. You can just compare it to other states and you see that that's the case. So that said, though, where do you find the resources to grow it, and how do you do so in a manner that is most cost effective? I think that the three institutions, NAU, ASU, U of A, have collectively a good plan for growing the enrollments in an efficient manner, and yet still ensuring that you have excellence in the degrees offered. It's not clear to me that you can do the same thing by just expanding community colleges. There is a mechanism right now if a community college wants to offer a four-year degree. They propose a degree, and if none of the three universities chooses to offer it, then the community college is free to go ahead and offer that. To date, none of them has proposed that, I think because they're worried about how you'd fund it. And if you decide you're going to take state funds to fund it, then where do you get the state dollars as the state is cutting way back? So I think that the conundrum here is how do you generate bachelor's degrees more efficiently? And I think the enterprise model is a good plan because all three universities are showing their differentiated missions, and they are stepping up to the plate and serving undergraduates at the same time.
One of the sort of hot-button topics that's come up with this falling state endowment to universities has been the issue of privatization.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, with ASU moving forward, the U of A has said that they have some plans to examine that as well. How feasible of an option do you think privatization of schools, departments, colleges is moving forward?
It's very difficult to do, and it will take many years. If you've seen the recent ASU proposal for the College of Law, I think it's a 7-year proposal.
Yeah.
I always like to preface my remarks by saying that our athletics program is already privatized, if by privatization you mean no general funds from the state. So unlike our sister institutions, we don't put state general funds into our athletics program, and that's a real challenge for them to make sure that they are financially whole. When you look around the University of Arizona, it's not clear you could drive the state support to zero and still have the kind of quality institution. I mean, law degrees, business degrees will always be in demand, and so you could charge a lot more tuition, but at some point you're going to impact the quality of the student that comes. It's like anything in life. It's a trade-off, right? And so any actions along these lines that occur will take a lot of time to do so. So you do it carefully and make sure that you're still generating the kind of output, the kind of degrees that you want, that the state needs. Privatization has become sort of a buzzword.
As the UA is looking at staff reductions to help combat these cuts, in addition to enrollment growth, especially at like I said, UA South, online degrees, etc., how do you ensure that the educational quality of the University of Arizona remains at its same level when you have more students and less staff?
This is a huge concern. I have said over and over again that above all else we have to maintain the quality of a UA degree. If we didn't have quality, none of the three of you would be here. I mean, why would you come if it isn't a quality degree? And you want that degree to stand for something 5, 10, 15, 20 years and more after you've graduated. want when you go up and meet somebody new in your business or in your neighborhood and you say, I got a degree from the U of A, they go, wow, that's a great school. That's what you want to hear. So we're pledged to maintaining quality. That's the easy statement to make, but I make it all the time because it's essential. If we lose the quality of this degree, we're not going to attract good students, whether from in-state or out-of-state. And so the whole thing falls apart. We're not going to attract great faculty. So how do we do that? I think we do it by making really hard choices. Hard choices where we've got input from the entire UA community and beyond to know that in some fields we're just going to let those programs reduce down, maybe even disappear because there's a low demand for them, maybe because the quality isn't as high, and that's going to allow us then to put whatever resources we have into other programs that are serving a lot of students, that show the high quality, that put this university on the map in terms of quality faculty, scholarship, and programs. So I think it's a recognition that you can't do everything for everybody at the same level of quality that you've done in the past. And maybe it's better if somebody wants a bachelor's degree in alligator migration that they go to the University of Florida and not come to the University of Arizona. You ever been to Gainesville? The campus, they do have alligators walking around. Mm-hmm. You know, they have little lakes and ponds and everything. I mean, it's not like anybody gets chomped, but they're around there.
Well, has some sort of poetic.
Yeah, we have our I don't know,
rattlesnakes
and coyotes and javelinas. So.
You mentioned early on when we were talking about tuition and the university's fiscal sense of using these UA's reserve funds to help offset the costs. I forget what the actual amount was, something where 22 million in cuts would be
1 o'clock here. Okay, so let's try and wrap it up in the next 20 minutes. What we have done really since fiscal 09 has been very, very conservative in our budgeting. We implemented hiring freeze with a few exceptions in areas of safety and health, for example. And if you look at the number of faculty hired since 08, it's way down compared to what it used to be in staff. So as a result, when we got stimulus funds, we were able to use those funds, one-time funds, in some ways to take care of what would be ongoing expenses, thinking of the big Mosaic project for information technology. And we've also been able to save some of those funds, knowing that this year would be tough. Didn't expect it to be this tough, candidly. So we do have some one-time, that's important, one-time monies, about $28 million, that we are using to, believe it or not, soften the blow of tuition, right? I said you've got 78 million in cuts. 39 we've agreed because the regents have told us that we will reduce our operating expenses. We've got another 39 left. You take 22 of that with our tuition increase, that's net after financial aid. Now you've got 17 left. You cover that with reserves. You got about 11 left in reserves, and you use that 11 to cover the estimated $10 million of increased costs just due to utilities and NERE. So, these are rough numbers. I'm not going to argue that 1 million should be here, 1 million should be there, but that's the kind of logic. And having those reserves really has enabled us to mitigate the kind of tuition increase that we would have needed otherwise, or to mitigate the depth of cuts that we would have had to make for FY12.
All right, and just one last follow-up question.
Sure.
So then what happens next year if you're looking at potentially having your reserves virtually exhausted from these rough numbers you've given, what do you do next year?
Well, there'll be a couple of things. One, you never know. One, though, we're hearing that FY13 could be a reasonably stable year financially for the state of Arizona. The legislature and the governor feel that they have made deep cuts and stabilized their budget now. They will continue to have income from the Prop 100 sales tax, and the federal health care laws won't have kicked in yet, shifting a lot of the cost to the state. So 13 might be a year where we can catch our breath and get ready for 14, which I'm told will be a real challenge. So that's part of it. we will probably propose a tuition increase in FY 12-13. I think that what we want to do is try and get ourselves to a steady state where the tuition increases can moderate, and so people can plan better. I mean, one way to plan is if you have stable tuition. It's pretty hard. There aren't many prices that are stable in this day and age. But another way you can plan is if you know that it's going to go up no more than 5% or whatever the number would be. So we'd like very quickly to get into that mode. I'm sure everybody would like us to get into that mode. Yeah. Okay?
All right, thank you so much for
Great.
taking some time to speak with me.
You bet. Thanks for making it efficient.